Welcome to the Measured
Update!
Pencil. Yes. You beat me to it. Wes has called out that we have an update.
Update, Steven!
If you remember, we did that week-long 5-part series on the extra long pencils with the eraser cartridge that is interchangeable even across brands. Joining us again is Jake Whiteoak, and he's going to tell us a little bit about what goes into that. Yeah, tell us, Jake. Update.
First off, I just want to ask a quick question. The check didn't clear last time?
Oh, it's in the mail, dude. Don't worry about it. I checked with accounting today. They double-checked. They checked with the post office. Dude, it's coming. It's probably there by the time you get home. Don't worry about it.
This segment is brought to you by Stamps.com.
Hey, gentlemen. I'm glad to be back.
Thanks for coming. You were going to shed some light on a secret or not a secret, but a nagging question that we had about these three.
It wouldn't let me sleep at night.
No, I've been up all night ever since.
Yeah, so
what do you have in front of you, and what is the same, and what can you tell us about it?
So it looks like I've got a Rotrine.
Yep.
Rotrine Rapid.
Yep.
Rapid. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this name.
Faber-Castell or
Kohinoor Mephisto.
Kohinoor
Okay,
Hartmuth.
Hartmuth?
Hartmuth. And the Faber-Castell TX Fine Vario L0.7.
Yeah, and another question for a different episode is who the hell is in charge of naming these things? Because I think that one could use a couple more letters and words after. But anyway, what we were wondering about is the eraser cartridges or whatever you would call them.
Yeah, so let's get to that. So, in previous episodes, we kind of talked about what does it take to design things? What does it take to manufacture things? That's the real part, right? You can have all the best design ideas in the world. You can put it in a machine, or you can design it in CAD, and you got to be able to produce it. And if you can't produce it for what you believe you can sell it for, then your idea just never takes off. And what that comes down to is different things you can learn about making things either easy to manufacture or making things cheap. Mm-hmm. And cheap doesn't mean a lack of quality. It just means make things more efficient.
Sure.
Efficiency is king. They always say continuous improvement. Well, within that, complexity becomes a big deal. And when you can take complexity out of items, cost savings are going to follow through with it. So looking at these three different pens, I was informed that, hey, notice anything similar about them when I first noticed, they kind of all have the same little arrow pointing on it. Oh, realizing they're erasers. Pull them out. Look what I have. I have the exact same piece between all of these pens. I know they're the exact same piece because even when I look at it, I can see the ejection marks on these. So different people can definitely reverse engineer your parts. Yeah. But there's something we'll always tell. There'll always be a tell in it. And when these parts get injected, this is going to be rapid. For something small like this and cheap, it's going to be fast, right? Okay. This machine's either going to make 300 of them at a time.
Oh, wow.
And then you're going to have things that eject them out, called injection pins, and that just pushes the part out. They're sitting in the mold gets closed, heats up, inject that plastic in there. There's a dwell time. Tooling opens back up. And boom, your ejector pins come out. They push the part out.
Oh, okay.
Because when you make plastic pieces, you have to have this thing called draft, which is just slightly tapered edges. You can't have perfectly flat edges or lines in it because it won't pull out of the tool.
Oh, it'll get
so
stuck.
Think about it. It's almost like you can't make a perfect square. You can make, oh my God, I'm kind of screwing this up. But you almost want to make a triangle where it's, smaller on one end and bigger on one end so that it can be pulled out.
Oh, okay.
And you have to think about that in the 3D sense of it.
Sure.
So if things are perfectly straight, you won't pull it out of the tool. So you have to have some draft. And then with that, you have to have some type of tooling marks on it.
Yeah.
And that might be the mark of the two halves coming together. I can see it on this one. There's just a very faint line.
Oh, really?
And that's where the tools come together. It's not perfect. There's a gap there.
Okay.
But plastic's malleable, metal's malleable. It will just fill that gap up. And a lot of times you'll either trim it off, machine it off, grind it off, whatever. Or it's also called flash, and that's just little edges on it and stuff like that. So I can see the parting line of this piece.
Sure.
And I can also see the little injection where there's these little circles right on the bottom of it. What purpose does that serve? Well, that's where the injection marks are.
Oh, okay.
And when I look at across these three, they all have the same ejection mark on them.
Yeah.
So more than likely, one manufacturer is creating this part. It obviously comes in different colors. And you can also tell that the colors don't match perfectly to the body.
You're right.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so that allows me to say, all right, I own the tooling for this. I'm going to make millions of these things because I'm in the business of that. And, I sell pens. Business is good.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm only going to hold so many colors because I want to buy as much as the same material, or I'm only going to buy so many dye colors.
Sure.
And then you can come to me, Faber and Castell, and say, I got this forest green. What do you have? And I might say, I've got 3 different shades of green. You can pick one of these.
Yeah.
If you want a custom color, your cost is going to go up,
sure.
right? So I'm making the money because I'm producing these at the highest quantity that I can. I can make them in different colors, and apparently the design of it is good enough that multiple brands want to utilize this in their. You said these are kind of more on the economic side of it, which then also supports them in that as well.
Sure.
Now I don't have to buy a custom tool for this. Yes, I can make 1 million of them myself, but maybe I only sell 30,000 of these.
Yeah.
That's where it just doesn't make sense for you to own the tooling for
I see.
Tooling's expensive, maintenance, all that. So it's really cool to actually see this literally same part across the different companies. And they obviously all use them. Where the fun part comes is, does the company who makes this recommend the dimensional tolerances for this to work?
Oh, okay.
Stating, for this to work, you need to have this long of a body.
There you go.
Your ID has to be
exactly.
Your ID has to be this big within a range.
Yep.
Because my part's never coming out the same perfectly, right?
Yeah.
And I might say, you know what, my part this is a pretty easy plastic part, but my OD is going to change plus or minus 5 thousandths.
What's OD?
Outer diameter.
Okay.
So the outside measurement on this. And I tell them my outer diameter can go plus or minus 5 thousandths. That'd be a pretty industry standard. When you start getting into plastics and metals, it usually goes up a little, but 5 thousandths is the thickness of your hair.
Oh, wow.
Right? So I'm saying that it can get bigger or smaller, just that fractional amount.
Yeah.
But then if you tolerance your ID of this barrel
Inner
to this
diameter.
nominal size, plus or minus 5 thousandths, and you guarantee it, then the fit and the tolerance stack up of these should always work.
Okay.
If they literally are always within tolerance. So that's how you manufacture things. So it'd just be interesting to know, did they control the design of this, or did someone buy the patent for it, or the patent disappeared?
Yeah.
And they said, screw it. This thing's being made everywhere. I can make this, and then I'm going to come out into the market and go to all these big pen companies and be like, hey, I'd actually like to make the eraser part for you. That's where the inside selling comes in, and you may be resistive to it, but if I'm an engineer and I'm told, hey, I need to meet these metrics, and cost being one of the biggest ones, I'm looking for this. I'm looking for what I can use that already works great, has high volumes, low cost, but also tried and true, clearly.
Yeah. Why reinvent the wheel?
If you don't have to. Now you took complexity out of it.
Yep.
And if I do make a custom one-off and I just want to order 10,000 of these in this cool orange color, I can pay a little bit more to have that now custom part to me happen. And all the manufacturer had to do is buy that barrel of dye, do that run, sell it to them. Mechanically, everything else stayed the same.
I wonder, it's like a chicken and the egg thing. I wonder which one came first.
Yeah, I don't know. It literally, if you know that or you figure that out, that's how you own an industrial business. That it's the secrets of it. We have everything, or microphones, recording equipment, everything.
Yeah.
Someone's manufacturing it.
Yep.
And if you find out that you can manufacture something, or you find out people can't get something because there used to be one really steady business in Oklahoma that created these, and COVID killed them. There is an open source to build millions of parts if you can figure this out, and you can reverse engineer it or whatever and kind of go for it. And then if you figure that out and you can do that, then you have a viable business.
Nice. So it's like you create your own monopoly, or your own.
So it's really cool to see a common part across 3 different vendors whose pens are kind of the same shape, but definitely have some different attributes to them. They're all making their own body because they all have different clips on them. Yeah, the clips are completely different. So most of this seems custom to them, but then uses a commonality part that they're all purchasing.
So last time you were here, we had you guess the price of the 2 different row trains. I'm going to have you guess the price of these. We're going to let the audience know that we already told you that the Rotring Rapid is $2
Okay.
or thereabouts. How much do you think the other two are selling for?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Do these?
No.
Oh,
Well, all right.
Just
I guess
kidding.
I'm going for
Just
it.
kidding. Go ahead.
Are these bought individually, or do these come in packs?
these are bought individually for sure.
Okay. And I was told that the Rapid is $2.
Yes.
Okay. The Rapid has a little bit more simpler shapes to it. The body's not as complex. These other ones have, I'm going to call them elegant kind of designs to them with shapes. Seems like
Some would say pointless, but yeah, elegant
I
works
mean,
too.
I just feel like if I'm at the bank and I'm sitting down and I'm
Yeah.
begging for a loan or whatever, the guy who's judging me
Yeah.
is using, this is what his pen looks like.
Okay.
But I'm going to say the Hardmouth
Hartsmouth, Kohinoor.
is $5 to $10.
That one clocks in at 17.
Oh, well, there's the elegance. So yeah, I did. This man does make more money than me. That's correct. All right. Well, with that, this one, the Faber-Castell TX-Fine Vario L 0.7, soft and hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Metal body, way more complex. I mean, if you shot me up to 17, I'm going to say this is a $30 pen.
Okay, it's up to 24 now.
Okay.
All right.
So
That answers a lot of our questions,
Yeah, it
though,
does.
that we were pulling our hair out
yeah.
over.
I thought it was going to be way more than that comparative to like this, because this looks fancy. When I hold it, it's
Yeah.
very light.
Yeah.
It's not that it doesn't scream quality to me, but it does say Mephisto on it, which is a pretty bold claim
Yeah.
to say on a pen. I don't know why, but it just seems like
does, yeah.
What does Mephisto mean?
Yeah.
I only know like D&D lore about
Right.
Mephistos and
Yeah.
stuff. So, but this one, this Faber-Castell, yeah. So you said it was 24.
Mm-hmm.
That would seem, if I paid 17 for this and then I had this and it was for 24, I'd be mad that I bought the Hardmouth.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I bought the Hardmouth anyhow.
It's all for science. So, but again, you can have something that looks great. And if I have really interesting and efficient processes to build this, right? Very expensive body, but I was able to keep the cost down a little bit more by
Sure.
just, you know what? This just works and people are fine with it.
Yeah.
Also, I don't have to now create some random custom size of an eraser.
Yeah.
It's clearly a common eraser
Right.
size.
Yep.
Now you can buy my custom pen, but utilize very common open parts to service this pen, and that's great.
Yeah.
We should have just called you when we were worrying about this.
Yeah, I mean,
this has
it's-
been so helpful.
It makes way more sense than my conspiracy theory that it was some kind of like Manchurian candidate type thing where they've infiltrated Big Pencil and they're all using the same eraser cartridge because they're taking over the world somehow. I mean, yeah, your assertion makes way more sense, Jake. Thanks for coming in again.
Absolutely.
It's always great to have you.
Yeah,
All right.
check your mailbox when you get home. The check will be there.
I appreciate that.
And if not, don't call me.
This was The Measured Pencil with Wes Nelson and Stephen Murray. Theme song and additional music composed and performed by Josh Baumgartner. Additional production support by Two Desk Productions. If you want to see what the pencils look like, please follow us on Instagram at The Measured Pencil. If you'd like to share your pencil story, please record a short audio file, maybe 1 to 2 minutes, and email it to us at themeasuredpencil@gmail.com. Or, if you'd like us to review your favorite pencil, please email us with the name and it might appear on a future episode. Thanks for listening.